All right, you guys, I want to wish each of you a very happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm walking lucky. They say the luck of the Irish, so well, this is lucky. So St. Patrick's Day is one of his favorites. Sorry for my, I don't look the best. I put on a little green to celebrate with you, but I want to get this video out as I walk my dog. Here he goes. Because we might be out for 2 hours. And because he's older now, he gets excited at first, but then going home is just so slow. So anyway, I want to get this video out about Logic, LGIQ, Logic, LGIQ on the OTC. There was just tremendous news yesterday, massively good news. The company put out a press release dated St. Patrick's Day that they, how do I say, I can't remember the word, but they respectfully asked the SEC to allow them to withdraw their S1 filing, which was a deal they made almost a year ago to the day with Ionic Ventures to have Ionic provide $40 million in exchange for stock. And yes, you guessed it, Ionic has a formula, and as I keep saying on my videos, when CEOs enter into toxic convertible notes with warrants, with formula, which nobody can figure out really, but allow the provider of the equity to not provide anything, not provide any fundraising. What they do is they go out and they sell the company's own stock prior to signature, in my judgment. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to take care of something as I'm talking to you. Just hang on, I'll try to do it politely. So they sell stock. Naked, and then when they sign the note and then they work on the note, they can earn these shares. The formulae always are lower. They're always a backward looking. The money's given in tranches, all this kind of thing. I don't know the specific details here, but out of the 40 million raise, 3 million was given. And I don't know how, right now as I'm talking to you, excuse me for this. It's just the joy of owning a dog. I don't know how many I forget what I was saying, but basically, I don't know the specific details of this particular note. All I know is Ionic has been selling stock since the note appeared, and every time the stock goes up, they're there to sell. And at the end of this year, Ionic listed that they had 5 million shares of Logic. Well, here's your little dog. That kind of selling was going to continue into this year. And, the problem for a new investor, for an institutional investor, they can't figure out what the denominator is. They can't figure out within a reasonable guess of how many shares are out. So every metric that a company has, growth, earnings, revenue, cash flow per share, sales. Again, a real investor can't figure it out. because of these what I consider criminal contracts. The SEC does nothing about them. It's bad. But anyway, the good news, I get off track. The good news is that yesterday, late, dated today, LGIQ bought back all of those, I guess it was 5 million. It might have been a little bit more, I don't know. All of those shares from Ionic and terminated the agreement. And so that overhang is completely gone. That overhang is completely gone. The last time Ionic, had a conflict, I forget the reason why. It was some news story or something. They stopped selling for about 2 days, 3 days. The stock went to 80 cents. And then as soon as the news release came out, they started selling again. And you saw what happened. I think the stock recently went as low as 21 cents. Okay, so number one, absolutely fantastic news. This nightmare situation that all these CEOs get into with these smiling faces that come and say, we're going to help you grow and we're going to finance your growth. And then they saddle the CEO with a disastrous financing. And it goes on and on and on. And Gary Gensler wants to tighten up in the markets and make it a level playing field. All he focuses on is the high visibility things like Kim Kardashian and other things. It's a tragedy in the markets. But guess what? In LGIQ, that is gone. That is gone, and it's the best thing. The CEO Brent Swin did absolutely yeoman's work getting this accomplished. This is the best news. Not only is the toxic formula gone, not only is Ionic gone, you've got a CEO that understands perfectly now the dangerous and disastrous effect of doing business on these death spiral notes. Anyway, I think Ionics wasn't quite the same as the rest. But let's get off of that. Number one is that's the best darn news I've heard in a long, long time. And I expect the stock could go up like it did before. Now that there's a lot of noise and I raised my voice and now I think I'm more modulated maybe. Do you like my Paul Newman glasses? The number one is that this just depression on the stock is gone. And I think the stock could rapidly rise to 75 cents, 80 cents. This is not financial advice. I don't know your personal situation. It's all opinion. Okay, number two, Logic. Logic has 4.5 million shares of GoLogic. Well, there's about 45 million shares. It's actually 47 million shares of Logic outstanding. So that works out to about 1/10 of a share of GoLogic for every share of roughly. I mean, we're doing napkin arithmetic here. It works out to about 1/10 of a share of GoLogic per share of Logic. Well, GoLogic also has great news, and I'll do a separate video on that. That works out, the stock GoLogic is at $2. I expect that stock to also go up considerably, but at $2, that's 20 cents a share. Logic, LGIQ, is selling for closed at 39 cents. they own a tenth of a share of GoLogic at 20 cents for each 39 cents. So you're paying 39 cents, or you're holding 39 cents, or you're doing whatever you want to do of 39 cents. There's 20 cents of value in GoLogic shares, which I think will be higher per share of Logic. Okay, one, the overhang is gone. Two, the each share of Logic is priced at about 40 cents, and half of that is represented by ownership in GoLogic. So you're really, if you buy, you're betting 20 cents. Okay, what's coming? The next thing that'll come is a record date, and that record date, finally, that we've been waiting for, will divide Logic, LGIQ, into a NewCo and the Aubry SPAC. ABRI, Aubry SPAC. There's new, you can check the news. The Aubry SPAC deal envisions issuing, if I got to remember it, I think it's 114 million shares to buy Logic. And Aubry SPAC, I think, is trading at $10.40 a share right now. I'd like to switch hands, but see, I tell you, this is why I'm doing this. He's a sweetheart, but he's so slow. Poor guy. But he enjoys it so much. So, you know, I'm sorry for the informal video, but it'll be 11 o'clock if I will be out walking for another hour and a half. Anyway, at $10.40, well, the press release, when they announced it, they used $10 a share. That was the valuation. Anyway, without getting too complicated, because I can't do it in my head, it works out to around $2.50 a share getting out of the gate, the valuation that the Aubry SPAC deal values Logic shares now. And I expect that record date to come very shortly, and you will then have the closing of the Aubry SPAC deal. Okay, so you get a company called, I don't know what they're going to call it, but it's the Aubry SPAC. They take over the data logic division of Logic. So a logical, sorry for the pun, name would be Data Logic for the new company. I don't know if that's what they'll call it, but let us call it Data Logic. So Data Logic will come out of the gate being worth something, possibly $2.50 a share, but let's say $1.50 to $2 a share. Let's for sake of argument call it $1.50. And by the way, Data Logic has deal flow, and I'll talk about that right at the end. They have deal flow, and I expect accretive deals to follow on after the Aubry SPAC deal. Let's quick as a bunny, Lucky, quick as a bunny. Quick as a bunny. So I really expect the Aubry SPAC deal will lead to much higher valuation than the starting gate. The second thing that happens once that deal closes is that the Logic, and I don't know where the shares of GoLogic go. I think they go with Logic, but Logic becomes a shell temporary, like for an instant, and immediately they're going to merge the Logic shell company, which is a beautiful shell company in high demand. They're going to merge it into a yet to be named but identified company with revenues and profits. So let's just call that 50 cents a share. Maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's a little bit more out of the gate. Maybe it's $1. Let's just be conservative, call it 50 cents. So right now, Logic is trading at 39 cents. Here's a guy on a horse. I think his name is Logan. Yeah, there it says Logan. Look at this beautiful, beautiful circle. That direction is downtown on 14th Street. And this is a gorgeous part of DC. It was where all the red light district kind of things were going on, and drugs and all that. But it's, good morning. He's friendly. Hi, little girl. She's beautiful. Oh, he wants to go this way. I see. This is why I'm doing this informal video, because I could walk him, but I'd never get him home on time. So anyway, just to recap, you got 20 cents a share in value in GoLogic shares. You've got, conservatively, I think, a Digital Logic spin-off, sort of, at $1.50, and then you have the Logic shell, which becomes a NewCo, which also will do deals, and that meant, let's call that starts at 50 cents. You have 50 plus $1.50 plus 20 cents, that's $2.20 a share. I think that you're going to see fairly rapidly in the stock price. You know, I'm not telling you to sell anything else to get into it. I'm not saying that you should just plow in, but I think pretty quickly, even today, it's going to rally. Maybe Monday, Tuesday, and you'll start seeing 75 cents. At 75 cents, as I just explained, I think you still have a near-term 3x going to 225, and then here's John Logan, politician turned soldier, one among the great Civil War heroes. I don't know much about him. I'm sorry. So anyway, I think at 75 cents, let's say that's where you get in, it's going to go to 225 in the near term. By near term, I mean weeks, months. And then let me just finish up with 2 points, and I'll let you go. God. Okay. He's very happy, but very slow. And he's got a, I don't know what it is about older dogs. They take their time. Young dogs run right by. What's that joke about the cows? The bulls? I won't tell the joke, but it's basically that. When you're a young dog, you zip right by all these smells. But when you're an elderly dog like Lucky, senior dog, every single smell you got to stop at. I don't know why. Anyway, he's okay. Good boy. Good boy. So anyway, just to two more points, and I'll finish this at 20 minutes, I hope. 2 points. Each of these entities are going to do accretive deals. They are going to add to the revenue and the profits in each distribution. So if you buy the stock now, you're going to get 2 for 1. Originally, the estimate was, this is my second point, originally the estimate was that Logic would exit this year, their goal is to exit this year with $100 million in the combined companies in revenue. Well, my understanding is they already have 2 more deals lined up on the Aubry SPAC side that look good. I don't know what the name is going to be on the Logic side. They already have another deal lined up there. So I think they're going to beat those revenue numbers potentially, and I expect that the stock could exit the combined, I'm just combining them, could exit $8 to $10 to $12 a share this year. If you buy it today, do what Ham says, and I'm not saying that Ham's recommending this, by the way, but do what Ham says in buying shares. Buy half and bid for the rest. Don't run it up. Don't. It'll pull back to you, I think. So don't run it up. And then I guess one broad comment, and here we sit. I can't move him. This this is why my walks are so long, and I couldn't guarantee getting back to my desk and giving you a video. So that's why I'm doing it this way. Here we go. Now we're moving. So in general, I want to tell you something. Logic with Brent and his team, they are now positioned to benefit from what has been a disaster in the over-the-counter markets. You go to the over-the-counter markets website, they shouldn't be smiling. Every single stock's under attack by these criminals, these counterfeiters. Nothing is done about it because Gary Gensler does not care. I have on good authority about the over-the-counter market, and everything falls on deaf ears. And you know where the hubbub about FINRA over the last 90 days regarding MMTLP. So it's just led to a market where small companies, teams of really intelligent people, driven to succeed, building technologies and building tomorrow's companies. Recently, the IPO market's dead. They cannot find financing. They can't go public. So you hire all these young people with the goal. Let me just see. I always pick up. Oh, yep. See this plastic bag? I always pick up. When I see a dry, I don't pick them up if they're dirty. I pick up a plastic bag when I see them and throw them away or take them to recycling. Here's another one. See it? Another one. Because if I figure what do we have, a population of 30 million people? Some are kids, so call it 200 million people. If everybody picked up the plastic bags they see, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 times a day, 5 times a day, you save 1 billion plastic bags from being blown into the oceans of the world. And it's an easy thing. Just pick it up, ball it, make sure it doesn't blow in the wind, and put it in a trash can. Anyway, I didn't sleep much last night. I shouldn't be giving you that lecture. So anyway, Brent and his team are the beneficiaries now, and this is what you can benefit from: a series of really good companies that are private, that are looking to have a way for their employees and themselves to benefit from their years of hard work by being a public company. And who's sitting there? You've got what starts out as the Aubry SPAC but becomes Data Logic, and you've got Logic, and by the way, you've got Go Logic. This is a way to be in essentially an incubator, essentially an investment bank, essentially a venture capital pool, who is able to select among many choice companies and get the very best ones and acquire them in your company if you decide to own LGIQ. I think here's a local pizza place that I see he remembers. We came here once and he remembers. It's amazing what dogs can do. So anyway, I'm going to hang it up now. I'm going to quickly say that you could, come on, Lucky, come on, boy, come on. You could, if you decide to own Logic at 39 cents, there's no more overhang of Ionic selling. It's gone. Those bastards. It's gone. That's number one. Number two, you've got 20 cents a share in Go Logic value right now. And number three, shortly, you're going to get a 2-for-1 For every one share you have, you'll have two shares, one share each of two companies, new companies. For the data logic side, the Aubry SPAC side, it should be worth out of the gate 150 to 250 a share. Let's call it 150, and growing. The logic side should be, I think, at least 50 cents. It could be much better. So you've got a combination of 50 cents, $1.50, and 20 cents. That's 220, 225. I think I think Logic has a chance here of running up today, Monday, next week to 75 cents or so. So if that ultimately is where you get in, the 225 value that we just added up, I think could be realized in the fairly near term. That's 3 to 1 based on 75 cents purchase price. Then 6, I think that is, they are going to do many accretive deals, and they're seeing the best of the best, and they'll be able to have their choice. And so I think the growth ahead for Logic is very strong. And my judgment, my prediction, and the problem with predicting, you can't know the future. He wants to go this way. I think the stock will be $8 to $12, let's say, within a 12-month period, and maybe better, So anyway, I know I was talking rapidly and loudly and a little disjointedly, but I can't tell you how excited I am for Logic, and how much I congratulate Brent Swin and his team for closing out that toxic note at Ionic, and it shows that he's aligned with you. He's fighting for shareholder value, and by the way, he owns a lot of the stock himself that he paid for. So, all right, I think that's everything I wanted to tell you. I wish you a happy St. Patrick's Day. 27 minutes. I always do that. Lucky wishes you a he won't show his face. His face is his best part, but I can only show you his rear end. Lucky wishes you a happy St. Patrick's Day. So I wish everyone a good day today. I'll get on maybe later in the day. I will do a video on GTII. I think I'm going to do a video on MMTLP. And I'll definitely do a video on GoLogic. But for now, I just want to focus on what was the best news in a long time that I have seen in one of the stocks that I follow. Brent Swin and his team and Logic bought out and extinguished without too much further damage a toxic convertible note. And what fantastic news. All right, happy St. Patrick's Day. And here's the green. Cheers.